You don't control time, Cam. You can't have ownership of time. I reclaim it. I reclaim it. All right, fine. We'll redo this part. Go ahead.
The Play Upstream Podcast.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Play Upstream Podcast. As always, I am Rob Shields.
And I am Cameron Tacey. Welcome to the new year. First podcast back.
I feel it. I feel the energy of a new year. I feel like our whole edifice is improving, right? Like for Play Upstream, the world is still a big pile of
Shit
poop.
show.
It's horrible. I barely survived January. I did Whole 30 in January.
You did.
I don't
How did
know
that
if
go?
any.
You seemed pretty cheery when I talked to you. You didn't seem, agitated or anything to me. But you are a great
It's
actor.
just weird.
so-
January was thank you. January it was a really crazy month. Like, I'm glad I did Whole 30. It was really good for me to I always like having that discipline in January. I did it last year. I was really happy. Didn't lose as much weight as I did the year before, but I think it's because I'm just sitting at home teaching. It's horrible. But, honest, if I'm being honest and I'm revealing, aspects of myself, which one should do on a podcast that involves you as a human being, January didn't start that great. And I think the reason is because January started and the love of the holidays and the end of 2020 was all this magic. We're doing it. And then January 1st hit and I was like, it's the same shit.
Yeah. I don't think you're alone in that feeling. I know a lot of people, including myself, have expressed that to me that, you have the highs of, we weren't doing anything, but you had the distractions of Thanksgiving and Christmas. And there's kind of holiday Zooms and cheer. And as soon as that ended, you're back into it of another wasteland. I found I've really improved though. We took a couple weeks off from the Play Upstream stuff just to, recollect end of the year, all that stuff going on. My mood started brightening right away because we've got a lot of exciting things coming up this year. I don't know if you want to go into any of it.
Yeah, I would love to. Well, we came in. I think it was a really good idea to take January and just rebuild. And what by rebuilding is God, we did so much stuff in 2020.
2.0
from March to December. Yeah, we're 2.0, but from March to December, I mean, we did 16, 17 productions, right? If you include studio sessions and everything, and it was nonstop. So it was really nice for us to take January, get a little breather, and rebuild. And if you haven't seen already on our social media, we're working on these new monthly lineups with some really great design that our marketing group does, run by Will Dinwiddie, who's our president as well, and just putting those amazing things together. And I know that we had just a wonderful conversation and meeting in January, just kind of going over what our goals are. It's a little bit harder in the virtual world to plug a whole season because rights are a little bit harder to get. And since Yellowface, we're kind of stepping away from. We started out doing play readings, and then we started doing shows for real on social media, or not social media, on Zoom and virtually. And so, but we do have one. We'll be announcing that soon. I don't want to be the one to announce it on this podcast just yet, but we got the rights to it. We're really excited about it. What we also have is we got a new podcast coming to you.
We've got a new podcast coming out.
And I'm so excited about it. Play Upstream Podcast is somewhere where we want to really investigate the serious side of art, talk to people, have a good time, but get into those things, have it be a representation of our organization, and be a very professional, nuanced, forward-facing podcasts, right? Delving into art and the magnificence of it, and really paying homage to the artists that we bring on. But what Cam and I were missing is we want to bring in our normal razzle dazzle on a creative thing that's about, us and what we're doing, our creative influence, where we can be whatever we want. And it's not so focused on just an artist. Right. So the title of our podcast, which we painstakingly spent several hours talking about one night, is it's titled "And Sometimes Guests," featuring Cam and Rob. And Cam, you want to jump into why it's titled that?
Rob, because we're going to be talking about anything and everything. And occasionally there's going to be a guest.
Sometimes
Sometimes
it'll be a guest.
Sometimes there won't be a guest.
Sometimes there won't be.
Sometimes you're just stuck with us.
Sometimes you're stuck with us on an evening or whenever you choose to listen to it. I don't know, morning and evening.
When does the first one come out, Rob?
That's great. The first one comes out on the 25th of February. So you'll kind of get an idea about the new format that we got going on with that. We got some cool things to get it started. We will have some and sometimes guests on that are going to be really interesting to start off, but it's going to be loose. I'm certain it's going to be a little more comedic and ridiculous and just going on tangents. And then we come back and we're still going to be hosting the Play Upstream podcast. We're also opening it up to other members of our organization to host as well. So we'll have a bit more influence. But yeah, that's a new development, and we still have like a lot of new stuff coming this year. This isn't it. We're in the works of talking about another production that we want to do that's monthly. Focus a little more on acting. We'll have some more information coming on that soon, and I'm certain that as the year develops, we're going to come out with even more exciting and new, consistent programming, like studio sessions, like the Play Upstream podcast, like. And sometimes guest is going to be, and like this new endeavor we have coming up as well that will be announced in the next month or so. But I'm really pumped. Please enjoy this wonderful podcast. Amanda Dane is amazing. And come check us out at Play Upstream on Instagram, at Play Upstream on Facebook. And we have a show this weekend on the 21st. And that will be at 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can check us out on Play Upstream and come watch the show. Thank you so much. Enjoy.
Enjoy, everyone.
All right, everybody, we are here with Amanda Dane, who is doing our next studio sessions on February 21st, and we're super excited. As always, welcome, Amanda. We're so excited to have you here. How are you?
Hi, thank you. I'm wicked good. Thank you for me.
So where are you? You said you're coming from the East Coast. So where about are you located out there?
I did just say wicked. I'm from New Hampshire. I'm from New Hampshire. I'm from the Seacoast area. I was born and raised in Dover. That's where I'm at right now.
That's awesome. And we're obviously getting started on musical exploration, but you're not just a musician. You're like a multi-talented, multifaceted artist. I know Cam and I were looking at your website, which is wonderful, by the way. If anybody gets a chance, amandadane.com is where you can check that out. And so as always, we're going to get into the big question, but you're an actor as well and a musician. So like, is there one or the other? Are they both kind of copacetic?
It's funny. Everybody asks me that. Everybody asks, what do you like more? And I just am one of those people. Like, I really look towards Jared Leto, Lady Gaga, any other musician I'm forgetting that has like prolific acting work as well. And I mean less of like, yeah, Kiefer Sutherland's in a band, but do you know the name of his band? Versus like, we know 30 Seconds to Mars and Lady Gaga. Like, I love them like that. Like I want to play for arenas and I want to do acting roles that are just meaty and they tell the story. And so I did that into the question.
Yeah, I did. I always forget that Jared Leto was in 30 Seconds to Mars. Like, Jared Leto has the ability to do so many. I don't mean to segue to Jared Leto, but like,
no, please let us.
He has the ability to be so many. Like, I forget that he's done like everything, and he's always changing shape. It's like the weirdest thing. There was a picture I saw where he was looking at a model who was wearing a certain thing, and you saw this like joy in his face and the biggest smile in his eyes. And the next picture superimposed was like him wearing that insane. And it's just like, what a free soul. I don't always agree with Jared Leto and like perhaps not the cult following that he has or whatever, but I think that multifaceted artist is just so, it's like necessary now. We look at like Daveed Diggs as one person that I'm really into and excited about, since because he was Lafayette in Hamilton, like that's my favorite character. But I think that in order to be successful nowadays, not only have to create your own content, but you have to be talented in many different areas.
Yeah, or at least find the talent that you have in whatever area, because I think that people underestimate what it means to be a talented anything, to be a talented therapist, to be a talented scientist, to be a talented lawyer. And it doesn't always have to be something big. It can be kind of consolidated into smaller areas, like a small town or a smaller city. I just have always had this, like, I breathe better when I have a lot going on, and I'm happier when I'm juggling things and things are happening. And I watch these things on Hulu or Amazon, and just to name a couple, and I ache. I like ache in my bones to be there. Or I watch Lady Gaga do something, or Beyonce, or, even like Phoebe Bridgers and Lady Brandy Carlisle, and I ache to create that.
Yeah.
Very passionate.
I think that I totally, I know the feeling though of that, not being able to sit still. Like, you watch all these things, and so often have I been like, wouldn't it be nice to take a week where I don't have to feel like the need, the absolute hunger to like make something or create something, and I don't know if that's really bad ADD or that's just the artist in people, right? Like, because that's the thing, is there's some people who I think can be comfortable working I don't know, an office job, and are happy, and that's great. I would explode. I would go, I would, they'd be like, this man needs something else to do. But that's fantastic. And I'm super excited because I know, like, I can speak a ton to acting. Like, that's my bag. That's what I love so much. And if you don't know, Cam comes from a very influential musical family in Michigan. And so it's, anytime you hear a polka band in
we
Michigan,
run the polka scene in Michigan. Who's Dallas?
That's incredible. Honestly.
All right, so let's get into it. So as always, we ask the question, and again, as we alluded to, feel free to answer this in whatever shape, form. If you want to sculpt something to answer this question, we'll describe it, I guess. I don't know how far you can go down the road, but like, what's your story? How did you get into art? How did you get to where you are now? And what are your influences? However you want to take that. Just what is your artistic story?
What's my thing? Yeah. So I am one of those been singing since I can remember. And my mom, who's probably my biggest fan, is always so happy to be like, well, she was singing before she could talk. And I would kind of, instead of kind of blah, blah, blahing my way through my crib moments, I guess I was kind of like, like, she said I just sang. And so I just don't have, it's like, it's always been there kind of a thing. It never was, I found my voice at a certain time. My dad got me a guitar when I was 13, and my petulant teenager self was like, cool, dad. What am I going to do with that? Super uninterested, like, oh God. So he's making me play sports and like do stuff. And then at the time I was like, I didn't even know who Dashboard Confessional was for a long time, because I was listening to Simon and Garfunkel, and I was listening to, I had just, when I say, just found the Beatles, it was like every child kind of has that moment. It was about 8th grade or so. I was going to a Catholic middle school, and they would play, my teacher would play guitar for the songs in class, and they were really easy. They were really easy chords. And so I started learning that, and then I started playing songs. I always tell people that want to learn, I taught myself how to play guitar. I've never had a guitar lesson. And this April will be 20 years of doing that. I started with playing my favorite songs. I was playing The Boxer I wasn't finger picking The Boxer, but I was strumming The Boxer. That didn't come till way later, but I was strumming it and singing it. And all of a sudden I kind of unlocked this thing. And then I to this day kind of apologize to my dad for that petulance, as by way of telling that story of being like, this is my dad. He really gave me this, because I would have never in a million years thought that I would be playing the guitar. And so that's how the guitar and the singing really happened. And so simultaneously, just like my whole life, I've always wanted to act. I had an agent when I was 5 in Boston. I was hired to do a TV pilot when I was 9. I was on the front page of the paper. I got my first paycheck. I was, as they say on set, first team. I was just so taken care of, and I was 9. Oh my gosh. And I was so 9 years old, like bad, but good. 90s kind of thing. And then took some time off, kind of tried the school plays, and it was like, ugh, a little bit here and there. And then when I moved to California from New Hampshire, to specifically go to a community college that specialized in acting, I went to Miracosta Community College, where I met Michael Philip Thomas, and he can attest, MPT, the one and the only, and he can attest to this, that once a month, I think for the past 10 years, I've dreamt about that school and those people and the way that I went there. And it was another, my parents are great. It was another, my mom going, you should go to school in California. And I was like, what? Why would I do that? I have to move 3,000 miles away from my parents and my boyfriend, who I like so much love. Like,
it was just to meet MPT as well. That's the only reason why you went out.
Right. God was like, you have a very important person in your life coming. And which is definitely true. And it astounds me here, and it really touches me in my soul that he reached out. So that's a whole nother like love story. So I went to the school, and I was like, we're going to be in, we're going to be out. I'll soak up the sun. I'll make my mom like take me to dinner. At the time I was 19, and I was definitely petulant, and God, I hope I'm using that word right. And we're all like, so yeah, that sounds right. And the woman said, it's the summer, no one's going to be here. And I said, yeah, okay, like we can just leave. And we knocked on the theater door, and then as we turned, I'm going to make this into a play one day or a movie. As we turned, the doors opened, and like it was like that scene in Dumb and Dumber when she opens the door and the doves come out in the air, and it's like Mary is there. This Tracy Williams opens the door and goes, "Hello." I mean, this woman is a goddess. Can I help you with anything? We're not supposed to be here today, but we just happen to be here doing auditions for our summer Shakespeare intensive. That's the first key to this brick road, this golden brick road. And we were like, great. So we go in, and there was just something about walking onto that stage, this big black stage, and these gorgeous seats and these legs, the curtains. And I was like, and I just had this gut feeling. It's like I was, God, such an dramatic actor moment, but holy mackerel, did I feel like I was somewhere special. And she said, we happen to have auditions for the Shakespeare intensive, which, and to me, I was like, Shakespeare? Oh God, why is this getting harder? Oh, I wanted to I was like, whatever, but this is kind of cool. So, memorize a monologue, we need a monologue. And I was like, but I never really had any training, so I know what a monologue was, but like I'm not going to do the work to do it.
Yeah, I know the
shape. Yeah, I know I'm talking alone, and so to someone, but alone. And I even at that time thought I was talking alone to nobody, which I guess is true too. So my mom and I were on shoot. My mom's like, it was just kind of like rolled. It was just like the snowball. And she was like, let's just go to Barnes and Noble. I go to Barnes and Noble. I'm like, and monologues for women. Open it. I'm like, I have like 2 hours. And I'm like, okay, this kind of looks like talking about, I don't even remember what it was. Tacos. Okay, great. And I'm like writing it down on this piece of paper. I write 2. We go get burgers. And I'm like, I'm memorizing it. And my eyes shut. I'm like swallowing. She's like, can you do it? I'm like, yeah. I don't know how it happened. And she's just staring at me with her hands. I'm at the audition at this point. Tons of people are watching me that had already been in it. And she's got her hand in her head in her hand, staring at me. And I was like, oh God, get me out of here. I want to go back to New Hampshire. This is horrible. She's staring at me. And I said, okay, do you want to hear the other one? She goes, I want to hear you sing. And I was like, okay. And I sang Roxy from Chicago. And I did it very well. And I had, from that day on, 3 weeks to come up with $3,000, a place to live, and I moved to California by myself. Yeah. And that just, ever since then, you can't get me away from it.
It's amazing how those acting moments come like that. I had a very similar experience. And I think colleges are such an interesting place to fall in love with theater, I feel, as well. Like, I know you were talking about like, middle school theater or like high school theater and like in certain places. It's more of a hobby than like an art exploration, right? So you get like, we made things out of construction paper, which is fine and all the power to them. But I think the further you get into study, but walking into a place when you see like a professional, and I know that look you're talking about, where they look at you and they're like reading you and they're making some thoughts, but they're taking their time with it. There's no rush for them. They're like, I'm an actor,
Right.
I get breathing my air. And then you go like, this is where I'm destined to be. Like, I feel like, that, and I wonder that too. We always talk about sort of like, what is destiny, which is like we're going into a big thing, but there are moments in our lives that hit that point where it's like,
it's good.
There's no other way. Like, that's where I was supposed to be. By random chance, I arrived there. It was an accident. I mean, that's how I got into theater, was an accident. I had detention, and there was a girl I liked, and there was auditions. I don't know. I just walked in, and then, 20 years later, I'm like, what monologue do you want to learn? And but that's fantastic. So, okay, so you go, you've moved to California, and then so what? And now pursuing that professionally, how did you transition from going to college and investigating this and falling in love with like that idea, moving to California, to, because I mean, I assume you talk about it as being in your blood, right? Or like you knew that you were seeing young. What was the transition? Because still, I feel like people still kind of shy away from it or develop. What was it that made it like, this is going to be a career for me?
So I'm one of those like, oh God, of course she's like this kind of actors where it's like, there's just nothing else. Yep. I can't tell you how many jobs I have been fired from. And I had some, and I mean, it is, I'm a prolific job person, like holy mackerel. And I kept, oh my God, I'm so bad at this. Why am I so bad at this? Why am I so, and then all of a sudden one day it was like, because nothing in these worlds, I was not put on this earth to be a server. Yep. God did not, the universe, the whatever, did not create me to sit in front of a computer, to hi, thank you for calling. How can I help you? Yeah, hold on. Thank you for calling. One moment, please. Like the Office Space. Like I struggle with not being able to. I can't pay my bills on it yet in full, especially right now with everything. Not right now, COVID, but like everything is kind of not artistically like feeding us monetarily. So that was kind of it. It was just like this, like, think revelation of that's because I'm not meant to do this. I have to, in order to have a family and a life and what I want, and to feed the art, pay for the guitar, pay for the acting classes, pay for the headshots, pay for the trips to New York City. And so that was one thing. And so I just kept going, and every Alec Baldwin, every this quote, every that quote. He was a quote that I had that kind of stuck with me, that I'm butchering this, but like you do everything, pursue the acting and the rest will come. Like if it's meant, if you're meant to do it. God, what's his name? I'm so embarrassed that I'm blanking, but there's another profound actor that said it's, if there's nothing else that you can, like, if you can see yourself doing anything else, then do it.
Yeah.
And I just can't. Like, I can see myself doing music, but I ache to act. I ache to create a character, to be on a stage, to be in front of a camera. So when I left school, I left because money was tough. And that's kind of the through line of my life, which can be tough, but I'm kind of figuring it out. Came back to New Hampshire and was doing silly little this and that's. And I was Nancy and Oliver, and I did Shout the Mod musical, and everything was great, and still wasn't playing publicly at that time, just for my family. And I had a friend say, why are you not in New York City? And kind of like this, like, why aren't you in New York? And I went to like joke back the reason why, and didn't know why, and thought, oh God, I gotta figure out how I'm gonna move to New York City.
Yep.
And then again, the golden brick road unfurled. How get this? I go on Craigslist to look up, this is how much I can afford, at least and at most. And the one that I pull up, I'm like, hey guys, I want to move to New York City around this time, blah, blah, blah. They're like, yeah, cool. Where are you from? New Hampshire? I'm from New Hampshire too. No, they're from my hometown. And I went to school with this girl's sister. He's an actor. She's an actor. He ended up in one song, like, oh, I know you. I'm going to move in with you. It just happened. I was working at Uno's Pizzeria. Yeah, it was the first one I picked. Worked at Uno's Pizzeria. And yeah, we've got 3 locations in Manhattan alone, because there's Brooklyn and Queens too. And I was like, can I transfer? And they're like, yeah. When do you want to go? And I was like, what just happened? Like all of a sudden I have a start date for a job I know how to do and a place to live. Moved to New York City. I was pursuing musical theater, and I did have a bit of an unfortunate, I kind of ruined my voice a little bit. This kind of raspy here, my voice sounds like, but I've been kind of Brandy Carlisle leaning into it. And I was 20 something years old, like New York City, never sleeps. I was at drag clubs all night. I was working and screaming over music. I was drinking and I was like, yes. And then all of a sudden the singing got a little harder and I actually created a scar in my vocal cord. And that kind of, I was like, man, maybe I'm not supposed to do this. Mm. There's just so many things, but it just can't do anything. It's like my gut, my heart, my soul cannot do anything else at all. I just can't do it. So moved to New York City and I moved home because of money. And then that's when somebody said, do you want to play music for at this bar? And I was like, why would I do that? Well, I don't know how to play. Like, I don't know. Does everybody want to hear Landslide for 3 hours? I can't play anything else. 3 hours. That's 80 songs. My mom goes, do you even know 80 songs? And I was like, I don't think so. I don't know. And, had a binder full of songs. Fast forward to the Amanda Dane band. Yeah. 3.5, I think actually going on 4.5 years.
That's amazing.
And so, that's awesome. Yeah, it's great. I've been doing work in Boston. I've auditioned and got callbacks for some huge things. And there's a Super Bowl commercial last year with the Smart Car with Chris Evans and John Krasinski. I got a call back for that. And it's things like that the directors are laughing at my audition for the Super Bowl commercial that are reminding me, just like, you can't give up, Amanda. You can't give up. And honestly, thank God for COVID, because nothing's happening. So it gives me that chance. I don't mean like, you know what I mean? Like, It gives me that chance to take time and to be present and to recognize that it's okay finally to do nothing because nothing's happening. And then I have to create my own content. So that's the story. Yeah, that's why we got here.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things for that. One, it's amazing that we're all sort of connected by pizza. And then the other thing is, if we look at it just as Americans and as world citizens, but also, that idea of the pandemic, a lot of the stuff that we've talked about too, is how the pandemic, aside from the obvious tragedy of the whole thing, which I think we're all bombarded with constantly. And there's a lot of sensitivity about that, but the silver lining of anything is that I think as artists, we all benefited from a time where we were kind of forced to go like, yo, so you have to stop. You have to stop and reevaluate, because I think we're all plagued by that what are you doing now aspect of life, and now that you've reinvented several times, or maybe not reinvented, but found a different through line.
No, I like that a lot, actually. I might steal that.
Yeah, I've done this, and then I learned that now it's this. Now it doesn't mean my other dreams are going. I'm just following the path of least resistance and of most, what opportunities I have now. And that's what an artist is, right? But I love it. I love your story because there's so much there's like moments that discourage. You have like, it is my calling. I'm in New York, like New Hampshire, pizza, all these things. It's like I'm supposed to be here. And then there's that reality that sets in right after where it's like, oh, I didn't get this audition. Like, am I supposed to do this? Like, I scarred my vocal cord. And it's so amazing how that cyclical nature of being an artist, where it's like, I am the chosen one, and then I'm the biggest piece of shit that ever lived, which is what I go through like daily.
Oh my God. And it feels good to hear that, because it feels good to know that I'm not alone, and somebody like alone. And even MPT and I were talking after we all met, and we hung around for a little bit after. And it's just so good to talk to like you guys, as somebody who's just as passionate and driven and as lost, stuck, and scared. Because on another level for me, I'm 33. I look 24, and that works. That's great. I also know that in some point in my life, the other reason why I was meant to be on the surface to be a mother, that's something that matters just as much to me as being an artist. Mm-hmm. And I get scared. And we get, we women are told, There, women are having babies in their 40s and it's okay. And this, that, and the other thing. And then at the same time, you're kind of seeing this pushback on certain like age limits or, I want to be a good mom. I want to make sure I'm there for them. Do I have to choose one or the other? And that'll keep me up at night and I'll sob myself to sleep over it because they both matter to me. It feels like a Sophie's Choice and it's awful because then another voice comes in and says, why are you being so dramatic? You don't have to choose. You just keep, and I'm like, I know you're right. And then I'm asleep. So, but it's definitely like a constant. And so I'm actually up right now. I'm feeling really, euphoric in my life based in, I get an audition for Connecticut Lottery and I'm like, whoa, watch out. Oh, here we go. Okay, here she comes. It's Amanda Dane, Dane. Okay. Get the shirt now because guys, I mean, really, and then, can you submit for this George Clooney directed movie? And I'm like, oh God, let's just move. Let's get the mansion. She's famous. Like nothing came of it, but it's that feeling. So I've been getting auditions a little bit. The band, even with COVID, is on the back end, doing certain things. There's t-shirts finally being made. I'm finally on Spotify. Things that I always thought, well, I don't have enough money to do that. I can't. I don't know. I don't know how. That's my big. I don't know how to do that. And then I also have a side art business where I'm selling handmade cards and creating this whole business there. And I'm like,
that's cool.
Yeah. I think one of the things you brought up was like the idea of being a mother and like, when does my artistic career stop or when does it go? And like, it's so interesting because I feel the same way about this idea of like controlling it. Like, and I think that's a symptom of being, and I don't know, I'm not 40 yet. So I think it's a symptom of being in my 30s, right? Where it's like you reach 30 and you're like, this is the beginning of the end. Right.
I have 10 years. That's it.
Yeah. And then it's like, am I allowed to do these things? Am I supposed to be successful?
Yes.
And I hate that weight that we bear, where it was when I was in my 20s, and I don't know if you all experienced this or even before that, it was like, oh yeah, like my path to success is already there. Once you're 30, you have the money in the house and this thing of what we've seen. And then we live in a different time. It's a much different situation financially for everybody with the disparity in wealth and all that. We're not a political podcast, but we know. And but we sit there and we evaluate ourselves against all this stuff that's irrelevant because there's no like being a mother and being an artist aren't mutually exclusive, right?
I know.
But we get in that and it's like this, I got to control it. Like how am I going to pay my bills and get a house, but also be an artist and have health insurance in this godforsaken country. And but I love it. I love this kind of, you know what I mean? And that's so fascinating. But what I love though is that your invention of your businesses, right?
Yeah.
You make art, you make cards, you're starting to figure out the t-shirts, Amanda Dane band. That's where I think you build that foundation of like, these are the artistic projects where I make some money, I do my work.
Yeah.
And that's the battery that we recharge all the time to keep us going for those long distances, right? Like, here's my audition for Ben Affleck show, like take it. And if I get it or not, I still have so much influence. And I'm hoping that that's a development of this time,
Yeah, I think so too. And don't get me wrong, I have a full-time 40-hour-a-week job that I finally found, the Amanda Dane job. I used to get in trouble. Is
that what it was called?
It's literally called the Amanda Dane job. I am taking resumes.
Perfect.
No, I know. I swear it's another one of those moments of like, here we go. Here's your golden brick, road. Sure. Because I'm getting health insurance starting March 1st, like good health insurance. And I'm getting these benefits and I'm going back to school to get my degree, to get in communications, to use the artisticness that I already have in order to like keep moving everything forward and take good advantage of a $20,000 education I'm getting for free. And I say all that because I'm working at a college in an admissions department. My job is to talk for however long I want to a student my job is to ask about their lives and to do this with them and to talk to them and find out who they are. I was like, wait, what? And I said, well, yeah, I didn't, what if I don't get, the application or whatever? And it doesn't matter as much as talking to someone. And I was like, Okay, hold on. I had 10 years of getting fired for constantly talking and getting to know people and being friends with people. And then you just told me that my job, that I'll actually get in trouble if I don't talk to them and make them my friend and get to know who they are. And if they apply, they apply, but it doesn't matter. So I still have that job, but I'm working from home. My art space is downstairs. My auditions happen against the wall right here. My guitar is sitting here. My life is somehow packaged in a way that I can breathe and I can exist and I can create and I can feed myself.
Right.
I can feed properly and be healthy. And I'm like, 33's never been better.
Yeah. I totally right there agree with you, is that you find that job that works for you, right?
Yeah.
And then everything else is just you maintaining what you care and are passionate about.
Yeah.
And the damnable misery of the whole artistic experience is that your success is equated to dollars, right? Or and I get that. And that's capitalism, right?
I do. I know.
But the godliness of it, or the divinity in it, right? I'm getting too lofty now. Is that
not
is
for me.
the art of creation. Yeah. And that if we supported people more in those endeavors that are them creating, my mother, for instance, talked to me today. She started her Etsy page and she's selling what she crochets. And she was like, I don't know, I'm worried. Like, what if people don't think it's good? And I'm like, I don't care. Just don't take any refunds, and, but I think that we've done this thing where we've like, now people are starting to get these opportunities. Maybe it's the internet, or maybe it's whatever, the support things are short, making our bubbles a little bit smaller right now.
TikTok.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that you can create these things, and that's what you're putting in that's passionate, and that's the things that are great, because these lifeless things that they force us to do, like desk work and things like that, that's fine. But all we're doing is going out and getting drunk to express ourselves, or whatever we're doing to like get that closeness to that thing. And I think that's the beauty of it is you're making stuff. You have a band that we're so excited. Your music's wonderful, by the way, on Spotify. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And and I watched your incandescent on your website.
You did?
Yeah, tell the story of that, because there's an award-winning science fiction film that you were in. It's pretty interesting. What was that all about?
This is so much fun. Yeah, that's here in Dover, New Hampshire. I have a good family friend, Freddie Catalfo, who's a lawyer by day and an artist by the rest of his life. Yep. And I think what I think is best to describe him as a passion for people and creating things, right? So he came to me with, I've been wanting to work with you, seen you in the local shows, which I found really beautiful, because I was always in the chorus or in the like what I always thought was like the background, and people kind of pulled me out and were like, no, you did a good job, and I noticed you. And that was really nice. Like, oh, thank you. I didn't know that my tree number 2 was so great, but thank you so much. And he said, he was like, it's this and it's that. And I was like, I'm in. Holy mackerel. I'm so here for that. And for those that don't know what it is, the basically what it is a teacher that survives a school shooting. She's a elementary school teacher. Survives her students in this, which I found to be, gut wrenching, and I wanted it. I wanted every second of it. And, but at the same time, the world is also kind of coming to, it's the science fiction part of it, is that the world is ending, and these nomadic aliens go around and they eat stars. And so they're eating the sun. But before they do that, they take inventory of the planets that will inevitably, fall under duress based on the star leaving. And they're just nomadic. They don't have a yes or no, they don't have a right or wrong, they just do. And then they're like, what do you do? Oh, okay, good, you do this. And they see all this war, and they see these horrible things, and they hone in on me, who's experienced one of the most horrendous things that somebody unfortunately in real life has experienced and could experience, and pulls her into the ship, and they're like, how could you, like, what is it? They start kind of interviewing her. And by that interview with her, they recognize that she's somehow finding hope in humanity even still. and that there is actually hope for this. We're going to move on and the world doesn't end. And she's the only one that knows why. And everybody was like, oh, it was just the sun being silly. And she's like, yep. And then goes back and is a teacher again. She finds her way back to a school and finds a way of healing. And we kind of saw it as like a way to show that that healing exists, a way to bring, gun control into the eyes of people, to like just remind them that it's still an issue, whether you're left or right doesn't matter. It's just like, this does happen and this has happened, and that needs to be controlled on such an holy shit level. So we need to figure that out. Yeah. And then also kind of the way that people are when there's like craziness going on with like the world ending and stuff like that. So it was just like this multifaceted thing. And then I would leave and go do gypsy and be Mazeppa, and somebody thought I was a drag queen. I was like, legitimately, I was like, no.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, it's about 15 minutes, I think the film is around there. Yeah. And how much information and things were packed into it, and the visuals in it are incredible.
Yeah,
your acting was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. But I was like, my goodness, like I was there watching the sun get sucked up by nomadic aliens.
It's fun,
I mean, that
right?
could happen.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've bet that's on my 2021 bingo card. But how so? You spoke to that, and I know that for us has been a big thing, is that a lot of the work that has been really meaningful for me, and I'm sure Cam as well, is that we've been brought in just by people that we know like to work with us.
Yeah.
And I think that those networks are so like, there's the surface art where it's like your aunt, being like, why aren't you in the pictures? And you're like, I don't know. It's tough, And there's reality, which is what happens underneath the scenes, which is just a lot of people who are dedicated to it, like creating and bringing in people that they know they want to work with.
Yeah, and that's the thing MPT and I learned at Maricosta Community College, that one of our professors, Christopher Williams, said, how do you guys all think that you're going to get jobs? Hands up. An agent, showcases, going to school, getting a degree. And he's like, sure, it's your friends.
Yep. It's
the people that you meet in this room. And lo and behold, weird, he was right. Michael Philip Thomas was sitting right next to me, and here we are, Yeah. And it's just things like that. And it's creating something like from the depths of your soul and doing it with your friends. There's just really nothing like it. And Michael and I did an original play called Heartland, where he played a German prisoner of war just after the World War II had ended, and we were in, Heartland is what it was called. So we were in like the Midwest area farming, and he played, it was incredible. I mean, I got to ask him about it. It blew my mind how much fun we had, and how scary it was, and how good it was, and scary just like emotionally, because it's a lot,
I just realized now that what's really been holding me back is that my friends aren't as successful as I need them to be. You know what I mean? Like, come on, Cam, like get more successful. I'm tired of waiting for my shot.
You got to get it together.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. It's funny,
this is actually an intervention. Sorry, Cam.
I apologize.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all right.
If you learn Pro Tools, I can hire you.
Yeah, but I totally agree. Is that Cam and I did a fantasy football TV show, reality TV
That's
show.
Awesome.
And just like these things that you do with your friends, like that's really where the biggest thing is that the opportunity to meet new people. Like that's why I love this medium that we've been doing, like doing the studio sessions, getting to meet you. We've met so many interesting people who bring in all this stuff. And then we end up working together, and you make a relationship with them. Like, my foundation is growing of people that I can know and trust and work with. And
yes, 100%.
All right. I think we've reached the point where we're ready for some rapid fire questions. How do you feel about that, Amanda Dane? Are you excited?
I'm excited. Yes, I'm excited.
This is difficult, and it's challenging for a lot of people. Like we don't mean this to be like a test, a standardized test, but it's a test. And
I've gone through it, and I failed miserably.
I'm so ready.
In a yet to be released podcast.
Yeah, we've got like 3 of those.
You guys should start a Patreon. and that will go into the Patreon.
Ooh, yeah. Do you want to hear this one we did where we were drunk on New Year's Eve? It's pay $5 a month and you'll get it.
Somebody might. Don't throw it away. You never know.
Just thanks, Grandma. All right, here we go. Rapid fire questions. We're gonna just go and you know we'll speed you up if we need to, but generally we'll just shut up and listen. Okay. What is your favorite theater memory?
Okay. At New Village Arts in Carlsbad, California, I watched True West, and I had, which is tell me the name of the
Sam Shepard.
Sam Shepard. I was like, no, that's not right. I had my first Sam Shepard experience, and I was like, what disgusting, amazing, grotesquely beautiful shit did I just watch? And then that was it.
Yeah. True West. We can talk about that for hours. We're going to move right on because I get Sam Shepard. Oof. That's I
want to be in Barry Child so bad.
Yeah, that's a crazy one. Shuck some corn. All right, here we go. So this is the next one that we're ready for. Question 2 in the rapid fire segment. What is your favorite song to sing and why is that important to you?
Oh, you're killing me.
I don't care. Oh, it's rapid fire, Campbell.
That's a rapid fire question.
I said it fast.
You're right. Dreams by Fleetwood Mac, obviously. Okay. And because I have an affinity for Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks, for her voice, for what she does to my soul when she sings and when she speaks and who she is and her iconicness. This song itself is a breakup song to the man that is playing guitar for her in the song. And the way that the song kind of moves melodically, it just gives me a life that I can't even explain. I come off like Soul, the new Pixar movie. I go into another dimension. Yeah. And when I play it with the band, there's a crash cymbal, and it's on my album on Spotify. There's a crash cymbal in the chorus, and there's just something about it that's like this, like, ooh.
Yeah.
Thing for me. So
it's amazing when you have that piece that like connects you to the beam, or like that thing that you're like, oh, this is like the highest feeling of art. That euphoria is insane.
Oh God.
Okay, what is a book or piece of art that you're currently reading or experiencing?
Oh gee. Okay, so for books, because of my my very my brain moves so fast. I read about 8 books at a time just because I'm like, oh, kind of bored. Got to move on. Oh, what's this? The Haunting of Bly Manor? Like, oh, The Turn of the Screw is actually what it's called. Like, let me start. That's too hard to read. And then I kind of move on from there. So when it comes to reading, I'm kind of in this world of like the storyteller about a grandfather. Oh, a dog telling a story about his owner, and it's so cute. Oh, so I'm moving around a lot, and that's a terrible answer, but that's true.
No, that's fine. Then let's shift gears a little bit. What's a book that you think everyone should read?
The Kitchen House. I've read it twice, and based on my brain able to really read very well, the fact that I couldn't hear people ask me reading it. It's an incredible story, and it's incredible. It's during the slave era, and this little girl coming from Ireland, and she is raised by the slaves, but she's white. So then when she gets to a certain age, she moves into the big house and then whoa, it's amazing.
Okay.
Beautiful, heartbreaking, and amazing.
What are your top 3 plays right now? That could either be that you want to perform in or just things that you want to experience.
Okay. I want to see, I've always wanted to see Aida. Always wanted to be a part of the musical experience of that is. I want to be in Barry Childs so bad. I want to be in a Sam Shepard play. Either that one or the one with the step brother and stepsister.
Fool for Love?
Sam Shepard, Fool for Love. Fool for Love is one. Yes, Fool for Love. Sam Shepard play. And then my third, just being in another musical again, and just doing it and singing.
What is a piece of advice that you would give an artist that has to reinvent themselves?
So many cliche things just came to mind, and they're just so true. Stop, close your eyes, take a very deep breath and blow it out very slowly. Keep going.
Yep.
That's great.
All right, that is Amanda Dane coming to us live on the Play Upstream podcast. We have a show this coming up weekend on the 21st of February. You can catch us. You can find us at Play Upstream on Instagram. You can find all the information to that. You can also find us on our Facebook page at Play Upstream. And why don't you give us your plugs, Amanda, so we can show everyone your amazing work?
Absolutely. Okay, so we'll start with something that pertains more to this. The Amanda Dane Band is on streaming platforms. It's on iTunes. It's on Apple Music. I found it on Instagram, so you can put it in your stories if you want. And so check that out. If you type in live in Portsmouth, NH, it comes up that way. I haven't figured that part out yet. I'm new to this, but do that. There are finally Amanda Dane Band t-shirts. They are come in men's and women's. They're black. They're cool. They've got this black and white print on them. You can find them on my Instagram, A Dane. You can find them on my Facebook, Amanda Dane. They're pretty much everywhere, but if someone reaches out, let me know. Gosh, if anyone needs a handmade to order card anywhere around the country, I've been making those. You could look up A Dane Art, which is my new business. You can look up A Dane Cards. That is really fun. And go to my website and watch my film.
Watch it. It is dope. I really enjoyed it. Well, Amanda, I can't tell you how excited we are to see you perform this weekend. And I just know that I listen to your Spotify, and there's some incredible music there that I experienced, and I've been doing it in the kitchen while I've been making my new kitchen creations, trying to really survive this pandemic. I'm making like garlic aioli, listening to Amanda Dane Band. But thank you so much, Amanda, for joining us. And please come and watch the show on Sunday. Yes. We'll be live on Zoom. You can come in and watch and experience that. We'll also have it on Facebook Live, and just come check us out at Play Upstream, and please go and check out all of Amanda Dane's wonderful artistic creations and things, and buy a card and buy a t-shirt and spend your money. What are you gonna do with it anyways? You're gonna bury you with it? It's paper. It'll get all mushy. All right. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you. And thank you, Amanda Dane.
This is the Play Upstream podcast.